everybody, and welcome back to my podcast.
Hello.
This is our first class. So I invited my cousin Lauren out today to talk about her life in DC. I genuinely feel like if we weren't related, we'd still be friends.
Yeah.
We are very like-minded about the world and politics, and so
everything I say is my own opinion. It does not reflect the opinions of my employer, future employer.
Yes.
This is all coming from me personally and my personal experience. I want to make sure I get that get that out there. So
absolutely. Yeah, so Lauren, you went to college here in Indiana and then you moved out to DC. So how did that start?
Yes. So I guess we can go back to the beginning.
Yes.
And so my Indiana to DC journey began back in 2020, which we all know.
Yikes.
We all know what happened then.
Yes.
But I was in college. I was a sophomore in college. And I sent in my application to the office of Senator Young, and didn't know what was going to happen there.
Pre-beard.
I was going to get pre-beard. But didn't know, what was going to happen with that.
Right.
It was, going to the black hole, but got accepted. So that was kind of my beginning in DC. And unfortunately with COVID, that got pushed back until 2021. They kind of gave us the option, you can come in the spring or you can come in the summer. And I very much decided that I wanted to go in the summer.
Okay.
And funny enough, before I went out there, this is some Jensen Lauren lore. I was working at Bath and Body Works to try to save up money for my internship. So I did. I interned with Senator Young. It was absolutely amazing experience that made me fall in love with DC. And, I knew immediately when I was done with the internship, I was like, I have to get back to the Hill. I want to get back to the Hill. Didn't know how to do it because I still had 1 year left in college. So for context, in 2021, I was about to become a senior. But yeah, did that. Loved it. Did a semester in DC as well for a off the hill small boutique lobbying firm.
Nice.
Enjoyed that, but I knew I wanted to go back to DC.
Yeah.
I still wanted to be on the Hill, wanted to get back to DC. And funny enough, at one of the events, I actually met one of my really good friends. We were coworkers. I guess spoiler alert, we were coworkers, and we're still really good friends today. But I met Senator Braun, met his staff. Got connected with them, did an internship in the Indianapolis office for Senator Braun for my last semester of college. Kind of told them, I was like, hey, I really want to go back to DC. I want to go back to the Hill. And they were really helpful. And I worked for Senator Braun for about 2.5 years, who's now going to be Governor Braun of Indiana. So very happy for him. We're going to miss him so much.
Go Mike.
Yeah, go Mike.
Or Michael. Is his name Michael?
Mike.
Go Michael.
But we're very happy for him. But we're going to miss him a lot in DC. So yeah, that's kind of the lore.
So you did these internships and then you got accepted into American University?
Yes.
And then what is your master's in?
So when I was trying to get back to DC, I was very much like, whatever way it takes. And I was applying for jobs at the same time, but the Hill is very last minute, I guess you would say, with hiring. Hiring is very quick. You usually have maybe a month, less than a month to plan.
It's government.
Yeah. Well, it's just a fast turnaround because people are constantly moving and changing jobs, changing things.
Getting voted out.
Also that. Or retiring, whatever. But so at the same time I was applying to grad school, and before I got my job, I think it was January, I got accepted to grad school. And I loved what I loved about American. Subtle plug for American for all my Hill staffers out there who are thinking about getting a master's degree. All their classes are from 5:30 or later, so I could work full time.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and get my master's at the same time.
Wow.
And my master's in public policy, so very general. Not totally necessary for the Hill, but I think it was helpful. It will be helpful in the future.
That's awesome. I think that's so great. So when you were networking to get an internship, how did you go about that? Was it just through applications? Like you're just on the house.gov or in.gov or whatever, basically?
Yeah, a lot of it's very natural and just like the situations you're in. So like how I got my internship in Senator Braun's Indianapolis office, it was kind of a like right place, right time. Of just like,
absolutely.
I remember what I wanted to do for this particular event for this client that we were doing the event for. They had to have like one intern checking in members and their staff, and so I was like, I want to do it because I wanted, you know, the most FaceTime possible with the most people, and there I got to meet like half of the Indiana congressional delegation and got to say like, hi, my name's Lauren and I work for, you know, blah 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 firm and like I'm from Indiana and I really want to work on the Hill. And so through that then I would say, oh hey, like would love to grab coffee. That's like the one thing about DC is coffees like run the city. Everybody's always getting a coffee. There's always most people I feel like on the daily like might have like 1 to 2 coffees a day, but like during the week you're having like 5 to 7 of like new people you met. Like you go to a networking event and like you really hit it off with someone and you'll say, hey, like, you know, we should grab coffee and like do kind of like a 30 minutes of like, hi, whoever, you know, what brought you to DC? What are you passionate about? Like, how can I help you? How can you help me? You know, it's all about, everybody always says it's who do you know and what do you know? And the who do you know is really important. So mainly just through like connections, just through like, but the Indiana delegation is strong in DC. There's a lot of Indiana folks. So I was super lucky to meet lots of Hoosiers. But just networking.
That's awesome. So lobbying versus working actually for someone in Congress, what's the difference? Like, did you enjoy the lobbying firm, or did lobbyists seem kind of dirtier than politicians?
No, I actually really enjoyed it. I think for me at least, I think a lot of people feel this way where it's kind of more of a job like I see myself doing when I'm like in my 40s and 50s, when I'm trying to kind of wind down a little bit, just because, you know, once you get past a certain age, working on the Hill can become a little challenging just with when you have kids and you get married and the hours are super unpredictable, and you know, you very much, depending on if you're working for a personal office, which working for the member themselves or working in like a committee capacity, that can really change things too. Whereas like it really depends. So but once you get older and you know you have more responsibilities, it can be much harder to work on the Hill. And so I think, and also just I mean we all know this is public service. Of course. The pay is better in the private sector. But if but the thing is, you know, you're doing this out of public service if you feel the call to serve, which in that kind of capacity, which I have, and I think a lot of people should take the opportunity and work in public service. So
that's how I feel. Like I didn't want to be in the Navy anymore, but I want a job where I can still like serve my country, but from a safer perspective, not where I'm like overseas. It's selfish of me. But so how is DC? Do you love it? Like you're from Greentown, Indiana.
Well, I mean technically Kokomo, but I drove to Greentown, so
tiny little town.
For all my Kokomo locals, Indiana locals, I definitely claim Kokomo.
Okay.
And also funny enough, I kind of claim Carmel tea.
Eagleton?
Yeah. All my Parks and Rec fans. Eagleton. But I spent a lot of time in Carmel too, like playing tennis, but Kokomo's home, obvily. But I don't know, from a young age, like I always knew like I wanted to live in a big city. I didn't like know what I didn't know what that would look like. And so I always knew I wanted to live in a big city. I appreciate Kokomo, definitely. The older I've gotten, the more I appreciate it. But I love DC. DC, in my opinion, is like the perfect size city. Where you have like about like 1 million people who like actually live there. Somebody could fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure it's about like 1 million, which is literally the same population as Indianapolis. And
but
then
it's
you have
smaller.
So it's smaller, but it's like obviously a bigger city. Like
it's tight knit. I mean, you've got the metro, and you don't have a car.
Yes, I do not have a car,
which is like city girl vibes.
City girl vibes.
Okay,
love my public transportation.
So, do you take the train?
I do. Okay. Yes, I take the train every single day for work. It's like, unfortunately, it ends up being like a 40-minute commute. Mainly just because of like walking.
Right.
I think my apartment's like 15 minutes from the metro stop.
Okay.
And then the train ride itself is like 10 minutes.
Okay.
And then it's like another 10-minute walk from Union Station to like
my
office building.
Yeah, so. Union's close to I know where that is.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I love DC. I would never live in a city bigger than DC. I think DC is like perfect in that sense, where it's small town enough where like you know a lot of people. Everybody kind of knows everybody, especially like depending on like the sphere you're in. So
well, there's somebody from each state that works there. I mean, they have to because it's the capital. So you know there's Indiana
folk. And you know too, like you're always going to have like people who align with you like politically, because it's essentially 50-50. It's a little bit better now since we have the trifecta, but
draining the swamp. It is funny because I have a friend who I went to high school with, and she works for like the DNC. Okay. But like she is so nice about like connections, and like I was talking to her about like my pursuits, and she was like, oh yeah, like here's all these names, like Republican or Democrat. And I thought the moment I was like Republican, she'd be like, oh, like I'm not helping you. She was actually really kind. And it just kind of seems like everybody out there has the same goal of just like serving. But it just kind of depends on which way you sway, I guess. And I mean,
I think that's really accurate.
I wouldn't know how they operate on the other side, because I don't think I would ever work for them. But I thought it was really nice that
I think that too like just speaks to like the Hoosier hospitality aspect to it, because I've even come to notice like one of my like very best friends on the Hill, like she is on the other side of the aisle, and like we totally disagree on like tons of things, but she has extended family that's from Indiana, so she in my opinion then is an honorary Hoosier, and we are still able to like see each other for like as people, because
because you're just working,
we're all trying to accomplish the same goal. That's what I always say, like we're trying to accomplish the same goal, we just see two radically different ways of going about it, but we want the same things. Like we want the country to be better, we want people to be better off, like
absolutely
we want the same things. It just looks very different.
So before you have your apartment now, did you have a bunch of roommates? Like, because I know when you're in a bigger city, like you cannot afford to live like
it's been a journey, because when I first moved to DC, it was again like you have like a month to get out here, and that's honestly kind of a stretch. A lot of people it's kind of expected like be out here next week, so they were a little nicer for me, because they knew I still had my graduation coming, because I graduated in May, moved out literally I think like 2 to 3 weeks later in June. So we were just trying to find something at that point. I lived in a studio my first year in the DuPont Circle neighborhood, which I love DuPont Circle. Don't let anybody tell you wrong. I don't care. I love the Hill. I love the Hill neighborhoods. Do not get me wrong, but I like the degree of separation. But yeah, lived in a studio. It was very expensive, but we made it work. We made it work.
It's totally worth it.
Yeah, totally worth it. I very much, kind of love having my own space.
Yeah.
But then my second year, I did have a roommate. She was awesome. Shout out Geneva.
Hey, Geneva.
Hey, Geneva.
Hope it's like the Geneva Convention over here.
You know what's funny? That's literally what her Instagram handle is. So, but
she have a clearance? No. Anyway.
But shout out Geneva. We were roommates for a year. Again, also from Indiana, so that made it like really nice of having that.
It's like a little piece of home with you.
Yes. Yeah. And we lived in Eastern Market, for reference, which, as I just got done saying how much I like the degree of separation from the Hill, Eastern Market is literally right next to Capitol Hill. So just as I got done saying, I love like the degree of separation, I wanted to try out living near the Hill. I mean, in my opinion, the biggest perk was like I could walk to work. Which was so nice. That was very, very nice. But but loved it. My roommate, she decided to leave DC and then go to law school in Tennessee, which more power to you, girl. You either, in my opinion, you either kind of love it or you hate it. And, totally appreciate if you recognize you don't want to be here anymore. I totally
it's a
get
learning experience. Because honestly, you don't really know what you want to do with your life until you try.
Well, and especially we're also young and like flexible and stuff. And I know she always wanted to go to law school, and she was like, you know what, like I want to do it.
That's awesome.
But so then after that, I moved back to DuPont, and my apartment that I'm currently in, which it's on kind of the cusp of two different neighborhoods. There's the U Street neighborhood, and then there's the DuPont Circle neighborhood. So I'm kind of on like the cusp.
Okay.
But yeah, so in that spot right now, and I love it. Again, the commute's like not ideal, but I love the neighborhood.
Yeah.
It's the perfect combination, I would say, of like city, but also kind of more of like
a little suburban. Yeah. I mean, and DC's sketch. Like, there are tons of homeless people. Like,
it's getting better. It's getting a lot better, I will say. When I first moved, yes,
it was a little sketchy.
But it was also because like COVID, and a lot of people were still like working from home or like not in DC, frankly, and just working like elsewhere from home. But
thank you.
He's like, I just want to be part of the conversation.
This is so cute, but take your bone. This is Spike's vegan bone because
that's hilarious.
Not a real bone; it's plastic.
Yum. Microplastics. Yum.
Sorry, Spike. RFK is gonna be knocking on my door.
RFK's like.
Okay, well that's good. I was gonna say, like, when I was in the Navy, obviously they don't, like, anybody can enlist. Like, you don't even have to be a citizen to join. But there was a few people in my office that were from Indiana, and like we instantly just became friends because it just felt so nice to be able to work with somebody who kind of came from the same background as you. Or like, I had a lot of friends from Michigan. And we'd always be like, "Oh, what part are you from?" And everybody else from around the country thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But that's cool.
I mean, funny enough, a lot of my friends, they actually live in Virginia, but they have cars, so that's different. I know I forever keep saying, like, I will feel called to the Virginia suburbs eventually, but I just need to be able to go to car.
Need to go to Mount Vernon.
Go live in Mount Vernon. Yes.
Yes, I want to go. We'll probably go because we're going to stay in Maryland. We're going to go, we'll be like 30 minutes from like the hill, I guess.
Yeah.
Or
where in Maryland?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I just actually the address I was using was like to see how far our hotels were. I put in 1700 Pennsylvania Avenue. I was like, that's gotta be the middle of DC.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
I know. So yeah, it's like 30 minutes from the White House.
Okay.
So.
Oh, that's not too bad then.
No, it'll be fine, and we're driving. So
nice.
But yes, I'm very excited to go to DC.
It's gonna be fun.
Yes,
it's gonna be a really exciting time.
Yes, and I did get tickets, actual tickets.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
I totally missed the boat on that.
Okay.
Like I was on the fence. Like I was like, do I? Because our office obviously wasn't doing it because we were shutting down, and so we very much had to like direct to like the other, like the senator-elect's office. Yeah. And our other current senator, and I didn't even just put myself in it. So we'll see. We'll see what I do. We'll see what I end up doing.
There's a free like section.
Yeah.
Which we were going to go to if we didn't get tickets.
Totally.
But yeah, I'm so excited to go. So okay, so what's next for you? Do you know?
That's the big question.
Okay.
I do not know. I've had some interviews.
Nice. So you're kind of in limbo, like you're waiting.
Very much. The like the negative way to say it is like, oh, it's like purgatory, which like that's very much in limbo right now. Okay. So kind of just waiting for the dust to settle. Yeah. There's a lot of movement right now. Right. Obviously, again, with us having the trifecta, there's a lot of new members coming in, a lot of people, you know, looking to go to the admin or looking to stay where they're at or, you know, whatever. Right. So there's just a lot of movement. So yeah, just letting the dust settle.
So someday is Congresswoman in your point of view? Or like, do you have a desire to actually be like in the spotlight, or do you like the behind the scenes?
I kind of like the behind the scenes, to be honest. You know, like I always say, like I don't think I would ever rule it out, but it would be it would be a divine thing. Like it wouldn't me being like, I like, you know, like the people who are like the pipeline of like class president to this to this to this
sorority president,
to then like member of Congress. Like it would very much be like I feel called to serve. Like I very much do not feel that way now. And
well, that's good.
And it's not even like a black pill situation of like, I've seen how it works and like this scared. Place is like a mess. Like it's just very much like I like the behind the scenes. I enjoy having my private life. I enjoy, you know,
not people digging up your old tweets and canceling you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So I think for now, I think like long-term goal is just working my way up in maybe in a particular office, maybe in a committee, but then eventually saying sayonara to all of this. I know this is not going to be my entire life, and like I enjoy it. Yeah, but I know there's other things
wherever the wind takes you. I mean, you've totally built this. You've paved this whole way yourself. Like nobody hands out positions like this. Like it's all networking, and you know you did well in college, and you're admirable. Thanks. And I mean, it's in our blood, but
just saying.
Just kidding. My mom's side of the family is the craziest.
Yeah, we can leave the family tea to another day.
Yeah, no, that'll definitely not ever be. So okay, one more thing, I guess. How confident are you with like the members in Congress? Like, I know you said you really loved Mike Braun. Yeah. And you think he's a great guy.
He's an amazing. You have just as amazing as everyone says as what you see. Yeah. He's fantastic.
You've told me about other Congress members, like privately, about like, no, you don't want to work for them, or like, do you see a lot of that like dirty politician, or that's good?
Yeah, and I mean, also I've only been on the Hill for 2 years, so it's very different, you know, depending on who you talk to.
Time, yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, and like I've never seen anything nefarious from my point of view. I mean, honestly, any member you talk to is so friendly. Good. I thought like at least the ones that I've interacted with are they're here for the right reasons. Nice. And they're, you know, doing what they can. Even on the other side of the aisle. I always tell people, I think the media like is very much spinning it into where we can't get along. Like we very much pitted. Yeah, we have to be divided because that's not true. Like it's just not. When you see it on the day to day, like these folks, they're all friends. Right. Like like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like, but everyone is very friendly. Like you know, for us, like in my past position, we're always looking for ways we can partner in a bipartisan fashion because that's the way you get things done.
That's how democracy works.
That is how it works.
Nice. So that's awesome to hear, because I know there's, you know, people that live in the middle of nowhere and they're like, well, I'd never vote for that person because they did this and that, but you don't really know. Yeah. I mean, I base all of my votes on what their policy is, and you know, there's websites like gov whatever, there's one called I Side With that I made my husband take, and it was like I'm not going to make you vote for anybody that I'm voting for. I just want you to do your research on,
be informed.
Yes, of course.
Be an informed citizen. Yes. That's I think the most important thing you can do.
And he wasn't going to vote. He was like, it doesn't matter, like my little vote doesn't matter. I'm like, but it does, because Indiana politics is important, you know. But yeah, I feel like that's all I got. What's a dinner recommendation for DC?
Ooh,
best place to get pasta, Italian.
Ooh, pasta or Italian? See, I'm not actually a big like Italian girl. I know I've been kind of taking a break because all the carbs make my tummy hurt. I'm just a girl. It just makes my tummy hurt. But I've heard good things about like Grazianona. Okay. There's a place down in the Wharf, and it is escaping me now. My roommate and I, we tried to just like walk up one time because they do like a special deal on like Tuesdays or Wednesdays or something, and you get like, I don't know, it's like an $8 or $10 like bowl of pasta. But it's like it's a great restaurant.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, it's amazing.
As long as they have wine.
They got wine.
Best place to get a drink? Where do you guys go?
It just depends.
On the night special.
It depends. Well, it just depends on like what you're doing. Like if I'm going for like a nice cocktail, like after work, or like to like catch up with like a friend or something, like again, plugging a new restaurant in DC, which I love, Butterworth's Club.
Okay.
Totally recommend. Their French 75s are like my go-to.
Ooh.
It's very nice. It's like I think it's like French. I would say it's like mostly French cuisine. It's very, quiche. Very, okay. Little quiche, little beef tartare, a little, you know, pork belly, whatever you can think of in that
Sounds
sphere.
good.
But yeah, so that's a good spot for like a little cocktail. For a good happy hour, it depends on, again, it just depends on the vibes.
Yes.
Like there's like Union Pub, there's Junction, there's Tally Tie. Like it truly just depends on the vibes you're going for.
Do they have a lot of like historical restaurants, like places that have been around for
scattered,
a long time?
Yeah, it's kind of scattered around. Like I know a lot. It's like I can only speak to like being here since like post-COVID. Everybody kind of talks about like the glory days, like pre-COVID, which I unfortunately never got to experience, but one of like the most like historic restaurants is like Martin's Tavern in Georgetown. That's where JFK proposed to Jackie.
Say
and
less.
They have, so I was gonna say you gotta go, and they literally have the proposal booth of where it happened. It has like the little plaque.
I'm gonna be such a tourist.
As you should. I mean,
do you feel like a tourist when you're there, even though you've worked for 2 years? I mean,
yes
you had your little spree last week or two.
Yes. So for those who don't know, I had my fun employment, and during my fun employment, one of the things I did with a couple of my coworker friends, we went to the top of the Washington Monument.
Oh yeah,
because she got the tickets and she was like, I've never done it. Like we should do it. And I'm like, okay, like I've never done it either. It was really cool.
It's like Spider-Man. Do you remember the Spider-Man movie?
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So most of the time I don't feel like a tourist,
right?
Just because I've like kind of been there enough, and,
right?
Like, I've seen most of like the major museums. Like there are some more like smaller ones I still want to see, but
a lot of it's free. I didn't realize like the Smithsonian's are all free.
It's awesome,
and so we have like tickets. We had to still get tickets.
Yeah,
but, we're gonna do that in Library of Congress.
Fun.
And actually, the Hill. We have a tour of the Hill.
Ooh,
so.
Yay.
Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast.
So yes, this was super fun.
You're my first guest. Someday I'll have like a big studio, but when Lauren first walked in, she was cracking up.
Yeah,
but it's, you know what? It's fine.
It is fine. All right. Well,
cheers.
Cheers.
And I'll see you on January 20th.
Woo!
Sometime around.
Yeah, around then. Yay!
Thanks for watching or listening.